I'm sure you've had experiences in life that you wish you could just bottle up and hold on to for the rest of your life. Well, many people have asked me about my recent trip to Venice, and I thought I would talk to you about that because it was certainly filled with experiences that I feel I really need to bottle up and to hold on to for the rest of my life. I didn't expect to be awarded with a scholarship that covered the course fees for me to attend the European Cultural Academy in Venice. It was a short course, a contemporary art course to strategize the next steps of your art career. And when I read all about it, I thought, oh my goodness, how amazing would this be? And I also thought, but there's no ways that I'll be awarded the full scholarship. But I thought at the time, oh well, I'll just put my application in and see see what happens. Any case, I was awarded the scholarship. So I quickly got myself off to Flight Centre, booked my flights and got my accommodation sorted. And when I arrived in Venice and got into the accommodation, oh my goodness, it was fantastic. The walls throughout the apartment were filled with art. In fact, I was even discovering art on the last day that I hadn't noticed in the 2 weeks that I'd been there. The back wall was a complete bookcase with loads of books that I didn't even get to read. And there was a piano even in the corner. When you opened up the windows and the shutters, you looked out onto rooftops of Venice. It was like a storybook. And if I poked my head out the window, I could even see a canal. One of my most favorite things was in the morning to wake up, go into the kitchen and put the whistling kettle on and wait for the kettle to whistle, for my water to boil to make a cup of coffee. And while I did that, I opened up the window and I could smell, the smell of the early morning, and hear the sounds. And there was often a church bell that would ring in the distance. The best time to visit Venice or to explore Venice is prior to 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, my course started at 10 o'clock every morning, so it was perfect that I wake up quite early and put my shoes on and off I went, discovering Venice. Venice is an incredible city because it has no cars, no bicycles, no scooters, no skateboards. It is just simply historical buildings, people, water, boats, and an artist's absolute playground. I mean, I think if I can compare it would be like a chocoholic living inside a chocolate factory. That's what visiting Venice is, with the amount of art that was available. My days were filled with looking at art exhibitions, listening to artist talks, art curators, visiting the Venice Biennale, and then of course there were the mornings. There's one particular morning that I really need to bottle up this experience and put it in my bottle and hold on to forever, and that was the morning that I went to the William de Kooning exhibition. Luckily, it was an early morning. Thankfully, the exhibition opened at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I was able to get there first thing. And I walked around this exhibition and I was like the only one that was in there. Just as well, because I really didn't imagine or expect to have this emotional experience that I had to the work. I'd only ever seen the work obviously on screen or on little and sort of little sized, you know what I mean, or in books, and standing in front of these big, expressive, abstract paintings, I can't even begin to explain what it felt like for me. As I was standing there, I noticed the paint. I noticed the marks. And the reaction that I had to this work was, oh my goodness, the marks look like my marks. The paint looks like my paint. You know, I could see the textures in the marks, and the little knobs of extra paint, and the workings over. And I actually came away from that experience, and I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, why all these years do I take my abstract expressionistic paintings and I paint over them? You know, from that very first experience that I had back in high school, if you've been onto my website or you've heard me talk before about my self-portrait that I painted, from that very experience, when I took my feelings to the canvas, I've painted like that ever since. And then for years and years following on, it's like all of those feelings I've then covered up and created and turned them into landscapes and flowers and portraits and animals, and you name it. I paint whatever I feel like painting, but it has always started with these abstract expressionistic paintings. Anyway, it made me do a deeper dive into myself as well, and thought, well, why have I always felt this need to cover them up? Well, I know why we cover up our feelings. I mean, you know, like, who wants to expose those feelings? But they're quite beautiful. Anyway, I'll move on. Another experience that I came away with that needs to go inside my glass bottle is this experience that I felt, or this feeling that I had when I was in Venice, that anything is possible. Anything for any of us is absolutely possible. And that feeling came about when I was looking at and hearing, you know, these art critiques and stories from other artists, and hearing about what their work was about and their stories. And I thought, they're no different to me. They're no different to my stories. They're not some superhuman artist that has been able to make some major success out of their work. And, well, they have made a major success out of their work. But I mean, it's like it's possible for all of us. It wasn't like they were superhuman. Anyway, it's had me coming back to the studio and sitting now 3.5 weeks or so past coming to Venice, looking at my work. I'm working towards the Melbourne Art Fair, Affordable Art Fair, that's coming up in just a couple of weeks. And thankfully, I've got a truckload of paintings in my storage that are all abstract expressionistic paintings. So I've pulled those out and I've been working on them, because I just feel this absolute need to stop covering up these feelings, and to push those feelings further, and to actually put a body of work out into the world that is just feelings, my expressionistic abstract paintings. So that's what I'm working on. Not to say that I have stopped painting flowers and all the rest. I probably will. But anyway, if you'd like to get this the release of this next work, then you will need to get onto my emails and subscribe to that. But besides for that, the point of me having this conversation as well was also to make you think, what are the experiences that you've had in your life that you need to bottle up and hold onto forever? And when life gets mundane and life gets boring and life gets like you need, to find some kind of inspiration, you get to you get into your treasure trove of glass bottles filled with experiences, and you get to open up those bottles and you get to relive those experiences. So I see I've spoken for almost 9 minutes, and thank you for your time if you have listened through, and I hope you have taken away something from my experience of Venice.